Welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast, your home for all stuff related to your favorite things in entertainment. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of the Stuff and Things Podcast. I am Sam. Today we're talking about DareDevil Born Again episode 3. Joining me to walk through the episode, it's Stefan.
Good morning, afternoon and evening.
Yeah, so you cover all the bases. This is a sensible approach to starting the show.
I find it makes sense.
Yes, well, I don't know how much sense it makes, but it certainly works.
I'll take that.
There shouldn't be anybody who feels left out with that.
Good night. No, I just sound sending someone to bed then, doesn't it? So it doesn't work.
Also, there's a weird connotation to that as well. Like, hey, good morning, good night. And no, we've gone there again.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it a good morning, afternoon and evening. There we go.
I would. So, this is Daredevil episode 3, Daredevil Born Again, the sort of season 4 of the Daredevil continuation of the Marvel Netflix shows. Just before we dive into this episode, I got a little bit of housekeeping around the show I just want to get your opinion on. And also, I've got a theory, and we can either do it at the start or the end, but it's a theory based off the opening 2 episodes, so...
we'll do that first then. We'll do that first.
Okay, all right. Well, let's start with the little admin-y bit, which is... the show had 7.5 million streams on Disney Plus in the first 5 days it was on.
Wow.
Which makes it the most streamed thing on Disney Plus so far this year. Show. Obviously, we're in March, so, you know... But it's still... It's quite good. Now, overall... for me, I really enjoyed the opening 2 episodes. Obviously, there's a plot point which I didn't like. It would appear that some people have gone to the extreme of not liking that plot point and literally switched it off and just spread the hate.
Love social media. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen anything or if you've read anything or if you watched the reviews or anything like that. What, if you've got any at all, what's your kind of takeaway? Because the 7.5 million is impressive, but it is less than The Acolyte got, which is a show that got destroyed by an audience and then cancelled, but the numbers stack up. Like, the numbers of people watching The Acolyte is amongst the highest of Disney Plus original shows, but it still got cancelled due to the sheer weight of social media hatred aimed at it. So where's your head? I don't know, like I said, I don't know what you've seen or if you've seen anything, but just what's your thinking?
I've not seen anything myself, then I don't go on social media anywhere near as much as I used to. But I kind of make the conscious decision now to kind of stay away from that sort of thing after the Acolyte stuff. Now, me and you really enjoyed that show. We did the podcast about it. You can go back and find it in the back library if you haven't listened to it yet. We enjoyed that show. There was a few bits in it we pointed out that were a bit dumb sometimes, but overall, good show. I then went on social media and looked at the reviews and bits like that and watched some of the YouTube videos that went alongside it and just had these people just absolute shitting on it for like, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, you're just choosing like the most pointless stuff you can be offended by and making a massive thing out of it. And that was kind of when I decided, I was like, no, if I enjoy a show, I am staying away from all that stuff, because I remember there was bits in The Acolyte where I felt myself kind of like rolling my eyes going, oh, not because it wasn't a good part of the show, but because I could already imagine the tweets and the videos that have just been made about that part of the show.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do that to Daredevil because I loved this show far too much. I've chosen to kind of stay away from it. But I did mention on last week's podcast that there was that little part of me that was nervous of the example I can give. So I'm watching this show with my wife, like I watch most of the shows with.
Yeah.
She hasn't seen the first three seasons of Daredevil.
Okay.
She knows the character because I've explained everything to her. She saw him in the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
And so she knows bits about this character, but she's kind of coming in a bit fresh. I think she watched maybe 4 or 5 episodes of season 1, and that was it,
Okay.
kind of thing. And that was only because I was re-watching it at the time, and she jumped in for a few, and then I watched the rest without her, because that's what I did. But I'm watching this, and I know what the show's like. I know what the characters are like. So I'm understanding how big an impact Foggy had, and episode 3 is pretty much all about a court case.
Yeah.
I know the Daredevil series, so therefore I'm watching this like he's a really good lawyer. We know, like, but at the whole time I'm kind of waiting for something to happen because I know how this show has kind of worked before.
Yeah.
So things like I knew there was going to be a lot of tension because something was going to happen. It turned out it was trying to get the guy to the courtroom. I kind of understood how these things were going to happen. Got to the end of the episode and my wife was like, nothing happened. Like, it was just a court case. Like, he got the guy free and then he's dead. Like, what was the point of that episode? That was like, I enjoyed it. It was good. But like, what was that didn't seem like it needed to be a whole episode. And
Wow.
my fear that I said last podcast is anybody that's new to this show who doesn't understand the backstory and how this show works are going to watch episodes like episode 3 and potentially be in that camp of, the trailer showed all these really cool fights and action scenes and we've had a court case for 45 minutes.
Yeah, I don't get that at all, to be honest with you. I mean, I like you, I know the show and I know the characters, but I'm watching it with a perspective of it's new and just kind of watching what's in front of me. You know, it's kind of, I guess it's expectation. I guess it's a kind of, you go into something wondering what it's going to be, because I know, for example, you and your other half watch Grey's Anatomy. I know you watch that show. I know that is a formulaic show, and this isn't just me being a dig at Grey's Anatomy now because I think it's crap. This is me just saying there's loads of shows that are formulaic, and that's one of them. And it's kind of, I think you've even said it to me, you can just put them on. You don't have to, you're not having to watch intensely or anything like that. It kind of just walks you through a story every episode, and
that's it. How I Met Your Mother, Friends, Big Bang
you got
Theory,
it. Yeah,
all those sort of things that we've watched.
There's loads and loads of shows that are just kind of, they follow a formula, and some episodes hit, some episodes miss, some can make you cry, some make you laugh so much. There's loads and loads of shows follow the formula and stuff like that. Now, again, like you just said then, you could say, I know the Daredevil show and I know the formula of the show, therefore this is well within my expectations for the show. But like, surely if you're watching any TV show, anything at all, it's not going to be action, because also that'd be crap. Like, just non-stop fighting would just, that's dull. You got to actually build towards something. You got to flesh out the characters. You got to give us a kind of what's going on. So yeah, I guess I know. I do exactly know what you're saying, but I don't think that critique of this episode makes sense. Like, there was a lot in this, a lot, and if you're watching it and you're picking up bits, then you are going to see that this episode was there's a lot there, which we'll dive into, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, so the general reaction then isn't great, which concerns me, obviously, because I saw the Acolyte, a show I really liked, get canned because of that, and I know Disney are wimps, basically, when it comes to this thing. So
and it
we'll
really
have to wait and
frustrates me
see.
because if you've got the figures that this show has pulled in and figures that other shows have pulled in, surely they can use their common sense and go, the people that are shouting the loudest doesn't necessarily mean they're right. And
No.
with the way, especially Twitter works now, with this stupid pay to have a blue tick and then get paid upon interaction, means that people are tweeting the most ridiculous stuff they can to get interaction. So therefore, if you've got a fan base like the Marvel fan base, which can be very passionate, and you then tweet out, oh, Daredevil was shit, wasn't it? What's the point of this? You know you're going to get people jump on and either agree with you because they want to rile things up, or you can have people that the Marvel fans disagree with you. It's all interaction. It's getting them paid.
Yeah.
And surely people at Disney can kind of look at that and go, hold up. Surely just because the minority is talking loudest, the 7.5 million streamers kind of outweigh.
Yeah. The issue is this kind of modern engagement which they're all looking for. And you know from just the limited experience we have is that studios of all sizes and all different things want to engage with influencers, or what they class as influencers. And that can be people with YouTube channels, TikTok channels, podcasts. It's a variety. If you have a following and a platform, they want to actively engage with you to promote their stuff, because they see that as a better way of, almost like, word of mouth is always the best recommendation. TV shows that people recommend to me, I will watch more than if I've just spotted a trailer. Someone says, oh, watch this. Okay, I'll give it a go. Whereas if I just spotted the trailer for it, I might have ignored it. In fact, I can think of several shows recently that I've watched that I really enjoyed, that I saw the trailers for and just thought, nah, probably not for me. But when it comes to the social media influencer kind of thing, is like, if I follow someone and I like them, I like the content, I like what they say, and they tell me something's good, I'm likely to give it a go. That's the whole thinking behind it. So when you have, just plucking numbers, say 1,000 influencers across the world that you've got on your radar, you send them advanced copies of things, you send them freebies to try and help promote stuff, and to a person of that 1,000 they've called something crap, even if the streams are high initially, you're going to be nervous, because you're going to think, and at least that's just the way they function with it. Years and years and years ago, it was all like a movies. Film critics could literally make or break a film.
Yes.
I remember, like, you'd see, like, I can't think, Barry Norman, was it? It was like did this BBC show, Film Tonight, and like, if he panned something, that film wouldn't get, like, no one would go and watch it. Like, you'd literally watch these shows to see, oh, what's on at the cinema? Oh, Barry says it's crap. I ain't gonna go watch that then.
Oh, the power.
Yeah. Exactly, and then sometimes they'd come out later on VHS from Blockbuster Video, because I'm that old, boys and girls, and you'd be like, wow, this is great, love this film, wish I'd seen it in the cinema. But I didn't, because a guy told me it was rubbish. And now we've moved on to the internet, where everyone had an opinion, and so everyone was making up their own mind, giving their opinion, and now we've kind of moved back to it a little bit, where we don't give the film critics the power anymore. We're giving social media influencers the power. I don't think it's a better system.
No, that's a scary place to be.
Yeah. So one of the big switch-off points, or one of the things that was hotly debated, was the death of Foggy Nelson very early on in episode 1.
Yeah.
The more and more I read about this, the more and more I'm kind of convinced that Brad Winderbaum and everyone involved in the reshot version of this show didn't necessarily want to do it. We played a clip last week where he says that both the actor that plays Foggy and the actress who plays Karen are back for season 2. We then scratched our heads along the lines of, well, how in the bloody hell was that going to happen? And we also kind of just had a general discussion of, like, removing Foggy from Matt is strange, and like, they've introduced new characters almost like they're Foggy and Karen replacements. In the original concept for this series, the actors that played Foggy and Karen weren't coming back. In fact, they'd written them out of the show as both being dead off screen.
Yep.
So we were going to open episode 1, and it would appear that episode 2 of the show was originally episode 1. Matt dealing with, and kind of this is where his life is now, etc., etc. So there's a lot written about. They shot 6 full episodes, which are still in this, but have now been moved around, reshot bits, etc., that they probably didn't want to waste, and so had to come up with a new way of doing things, okay?
Yeah.
But if you listen to any of them being interviewed, it genuinely, to me, sounds like we were kind of lumbered with 6 episodes of Matt, Foggy's dead, Karen's dead, how do I react to this? My friends are gone, therefore I'm not Daredevil anymore, blah, 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 blah. Well, we can't just, unless we reshoot all of this, we're stuck. And they couldn't reshoot all of it because, of course, a main key character of these episodes unfortunately had passed away, and that's the gentleman who played White Tiger. So there's a fan theory that's come out.
Okay.
And I'm going to run this past you. In episode 1, we see the dynamic trio leave their office building, Nelson, Murdoch, and Page.
Yep.
And the office building number is visible underneath their sign, etc. Whilst they're stood there kind of having a little chat and a smile, their building number is 468. Marvel fans, being Marvel fans, if you see a number or you see a QR code or something, if you see anything, you're going to scan that, you're going to look the number up, like Marvel number, da-da-da-da-da.
Yep.
And you're going to see what it leads to. Now, of course, someone immediately went, okay, Daredevil Comics issue 468. The title of that episode is, the title of that comic book, The Secret Life of Foggy Nelson. Would you care to know what the story of that particular book is about?
Oh, that sounds like a good idea, yes.
Okay, so it is comic book issue 468, The Secret Life of Foggy Nelson.
Ooh.
And The Secret Life of Foggy Nelson is all about Foggy faking his death.
Okay.
Yes. Now, we watched the episode. He is shot in the chest. A question a lot of people asked is, why did Bullseye shoot him in the chest when Bullseye took headshots on everybody else?
Yeah.
It's a valid question because Bullseye is that accurate, he kills people instantly.
He killed a fly with a paperclip.
Yeah, one of the interesting theories that I saw straight away was he is that sadistic and that horrible, he took that shot to inflict the maximum amount of damage on Matt, who would have to listen to his friend bleeding out, etc., etc.
So does that mean that Bullseye knows that Matt is Daredevil?
There's so much to this. There is so much kind of... I mean, he does, because he stole his suit, if you remember, season 3.
Yes.
There's so much, but what is, or just kind of, there's this loads and loads of theories, loads of thinking behind this, but the actual fact is, on the building, Nelson, Murdoch, and Page, the building number is 468, fact. The comic book, Daredevil issue 468, is The Secret Life of Foggy Nelson, where Foggy fakes his death, fact. Okay,
Yep.
So, as an Easter egg, or as a kind of hint, that's kind of huge. We also know from the clip from last week, Brad Winderbaum said the actor who plays Foggy Nelson will appear in the next season. Now, there's so many aspects of this, so many different things that could mean. It can mean flashbacks. In the comics, Matt had a long run where his dad is a ghost. He kind of like spoke to his dad, whether it was psychosis or what. It could be that, just replacing that with Foggy, where he kind of talks to him, is like a working things out in his mind.
Yeah.
So there's loads and loads of options for this.
Foggy's going to be a Force ghost.
Yeah, different show, man.
Oh, okay.
Different thing. But what is interesting to me was that the 468, and like you said, he got shot, Matt hears his heart stop beating, flips out, froze him off the roof.
Yeah.
He lands, splat, and Matt breaks down. Like, he takes the thing, he doesn't even hear the guy come up the stairs because he's just so now completely out of it, distraught, broken. Okay?
Yep.
We also see there paramedics and an ambulance. What if, okay, I'm just going to throw this out there. What if Foggy is revived in the ambulance? But for his protection, police protection, he is dead to everybody, in air quotes. Because obviously someone is out to kill him. Someone sent him out to be killed that night.
Yes.
And I think it was Vanessa.
Oh.
Vanessa has been the crime boss there, running the 5 families. And in every episode so far, there has been discussions about a place called Red Hook. It has been talked about ad nausea as Red Hook this, Red Hook that. And when she's doing the very first scene with the 5 families, there's a dispute over Red Hook, which she steps in and resolves. You know Red Hook's exempt, Red Hook's special, Red Hook.
Yes.
Before Foggy is shot, he's talked about he stashed a witness at his house because of that thing that went down in Red Hook. We don't know anything more than that, other than there is a clear link to the place Red Hook, and there is something there. And Foggy is shot over that. Now, of course, the whole beginning just feels like a revenge thing, like for Dex getting his own back. Hello, Karen, you know, all of it just feels very personal, very went out to do that. And it could have been. The last time we saw him, you know, he was not on side with the Fisks. He was going to kill Vanessa, and Wilson broke his back, just shattered his spine, which is why he now has an adamantium one, which is why he was able to fall from great height and survive.
Yeah.
But what if Vanessa, using her powers, was able to, okay, if that guy knows it's me, he's not going to do it. But we also know he, from the season 3 of Daredevil, he's thick and easily manipulated.
Yep.
So she could easily, via third parties, etc., send him down. Right, I need Foggy Nelson taken care of, and if he kills Karen and Matt, Daredevil as well, brilliant. She could easily manipulate that. Remember, at the end of season 3, Wilson Fisk makes a deal with Matt. He will not go after Karen and Foggy if Matt doesn't put Vanessa in jail.
Yes. Yep. That is the promise.
Vanessa never made that promise.
No, that is true.
So, I think that's where my head is. I think Foggy's alive. I just set myself up for a massive hurt here. But I think he's alive. I think they revived him in the ambulance, and for his protection, he's dead to everybody, and he's in the police protection, witness protection program, or he's somewhere.
He's now living in South Florida, enjoying the sunshine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's going to show up in another show I watch. So that's my theory on top of the facts that exist. The key facts: building number 468. Daredevil comic issue number 468, Secret Life of Foggy Nelson. I'm expecting a bottle episode of him in Florida now, just kicking back, loving life.
Driving a quad bike.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there we go. So there's the theory. That's the start of the show. Now we're going to dive into episode 3, and of course the title of the episode was...
The Hollow is the Hand. The Hollow of the Hand? Oh, see, I had this already.
Oh,
the Hollow of
the
his Hand.
hell? No, you cocked it right up, mate. That's the first time in a long time.
I know. I had it already. We're like 20 minutes into the episode.
What makes it worse? What makes it worse is I even helped you before this started.
Yeah, I originally said the Hallow. No, it's the Hollow. I just can't read my own handwriting. That is what I've worked out from this.
Shocking behaviour. We have a cold open to the episode where Matt immediately, I know there's a problem, where he promises Hector everything will be okay. I will get you back to your family. You will see that island again. You'll hear those chirpy little frogs that mate for life.
As soon as he said that, it was like, nope.
Yeah. The minute he said it, I thought, well, he's in jail then. I mean, obviously it went a different way, but I was just like, maybe I watch too many shows like this, but it's like a horror film and I'll be right back. No, that person's dead.
We're going to be lovers forever. One of you's dead.
Yeah,
yep,
well,
it's all like
one
that.
of you's about to get hit by a bus. Yeah, we've waited our whole lives to be together, isn't this wonderful? And splat. Yeah. So you know this coming. Did you have the same feeling, or was that just me?
Oh, yeah, no, as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, dude, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, I always remember watching Scrubs, and on that show, obviously doctors, surgeons, and everything like that. I always remember the character JD promising someone, "Oh, we'll get to the bottom of this. Everything will be all right." As he left the room, Dr. Cox took him to one side and was like, "Never do that. Never, ever, ever do that. We are here battling fate. You do not ever." And I remember it's like, "Oh, the guy's practically fine." He was like, "Come on. It's Christmas. He's a single dad. His kid's here. Can you not think of a more fitting way of our Christmas being screwed up than him dying on us?" So I always kind of think of that as like a little bit of hanging a lantern on the TV trope of like, don't worry about it, everything will be fine. Well, this is Act 1. We know that's a lie. So we know that if everything's going to be fine, this is going to be a dull-ass episode. So we know not everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did have that feeling. I just mentioned Vanessa when I was talking about the theory around Foggy. Vanessa has a couple of prominent scenes in this. Fisk is being there's a rival gang shooting with like a truck jacking gone wrong between rival gang, and Vanessa's warning Fisk about it, and he seems to be really dismissive of it. Like, we're above all that now. But then he does still have his knuckles looking like he's been beating the crap out of someone or something.
Hey, Adam.
Yeah, I just still got this image of this guy called Adam on a fish hook, just dangling somewhere.
Yeah, that is fully what I'm expecting to see.
So where's your head on this? I mean, Vanessa, obviously in his absence, took charge. Do you think she's struggling to relinquish that? Or do you think there is a real tension between them? I recently rewatched season 3 of the show in preparation for this, and their relationship's always been a bit odd, but she was very loving. Like, she was helping him dress. She was also towards the end of it being like, "Oh, I want to be involved. Like, yeah. I want a part of this." So here we are, it's like she isn't just involved, she's basically been running the show and feels like she's done a very good job. She seems to be quite kind of like, this shit didn't happen when I was running things, did it?
So it feels to me very much like someone who's never really had any sort of power or authority has been thrust into that position. So it's like, imagine you've spent your entire life working on a shop floor. Yeah. And then you get given, right, you're now the store manager. The power is all yours. Yeah. And then a few years later, like, you've got used to having a couple of years of like being complete power of everything. Everything you say goes. Yeah. The company gets brought out and they put someone above you. Yeah. This is what it kind of feels like. She's had all this power that she never had before. She is loving the fact that she has all this power and control. And now Fisk is kind of saying, right, but we're not doing that anymore. And she's like, I'm not giving this up. I've never felt this powerful and in control. I'm not giving this up for anyone. Nope.
I do find that kind of interesting what you said then, because we then see like a snippet of a therapy session. And by the way, I'm still convinced this is the second scene in the therapist's office. There isn't a camera shot of them sat together.
No, so I noticed that, and after you said it last week, I'm like, oh, that's so a green screen.
Yeah, so I'm fairly confident this is footage of D'Onofrio with the previous actress, and then they've cut her in. And don't get me wrong, they've done a good job. I'm just saying, I'm convinced that must be what it is. There's real tension between them. There's a real kind of angst. She's like, "You're punishing me." He's like, I'm not punishing you. I'm not. What you're on about is you're doing this because of Adam. He's like, no, I'm not. Adam, why would I be upset about Adam? I'm beating the fuck out of him. What? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing at all.
Adam, fishhook guy.
Yeah.
I know him.
Adam, human punch bag. Yeah, I know that guy. It's just very interesting to me that there's two parts of this. One is she is, like you say, I think she's struggling with not being the boss now. But is she actively working against him? Because there's a line in this episode, let's not get to a point where I don't trust you.
Yeah, that was quite
that.
a line.
Well, I loved that line because it felt sincere from him due to his tone of voice, in a sense of, I want to repair our relationship, I want us to be together, let's not escalate this because that's where we're going. But I know Fisk, it felt like a threat. Like, to me, watching it, knowing the character,
Yeah.
that felt like if he said that to somebody else, like someone within his organization, I'm under no illusions that the next thing is he rips their head off.
Yeah, that guy's dead. Yeah. And it's a strange on this thing as well, because, like you say, seasons before we've watched, Vanessa was so kind of loving towards him.
Yeah.
So the fact that she's now gone so far the other way to have been sleeping with someone else and everything else, you kind of think to yourself, wow, this character has changed dynamic a lot.
Yeah, massively. And it's just interesting to see where this is going to go, because it feels like he's the one making the effort here and she's not interested. At least that's how it looks.
Very much so,
at the moment. You know, she's kind of interested in being the running things, not actually in a relationship with him. So
it's going to destroy Fisk when he has to kill her.
Well, see, when he has to kill her. So it's interesting because I'm still not, like Matt Murdock, when he spoke to him, I'm not convinced that this is Wilson Fisk, you know, mayor, new man, just wants to help things. I mean, we saw a snippet of him being Kingpin when he basically threatened the chief of police. It feels like he's taking charge of the city by a legitimate means, but also he's going to run everything, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of, it's kind of strange to me. I'm not entirely sure where he's at the moment, but when it comes to Vanessa, we know he loves it. We know that is a pure thing for him. I got this horrible thing that is like, you take that away, like, if someone took that away, like this Adam guy, like she ran off with some guy or whatever, I feel like the level of snap there would be straight back to Kingpin Prime, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So Matt does have his court case. Let's focus on that. So the core part of the episode is Matt is defending Hector, the White Tiger, and he is got this witness, this guy who was a confidential informant who Hector ran in to save that night. They managed to find him. They've kept him safe. One of the things I noticed here, by the way, and I mentioned this in episodes 1 and 2, and I haven't seen it discussed a lot. I mentioned to you that there was a TV thing in the background talking about provocative art appearing across the city.
Yes.
Did you notice on the building outside where they were stashing this witness, there was a Punisher thing? And it was a Punisher logo, but at the bottom of the logo, it was actually the New York City skyline. And it was signed by Muse.
Yeah, I liked that. That was, again, it's subtle things in the background that are just building to something.
Yeah. Yeah, and the skull had the word triggered written on it. Now, in this episode, I think it's now clear, a theory we had last week is now there, which is there is a group of officers in the NYPD who have got the Punisher logo as a kind of, it's their thing, but they are very anti-vigilante. It's a very strange thing, that, because he is what I would class as the ultimate bad vigilante, if you like, you know. If you're a law enforcement, Daredevil beats the guys up and you arrest them. Yeah, you don't agree with him beating them up, but he's not killing anyone. It's you're making the arrest. He's using the law. He's using the system, but going beyond what the police can do. I can understand that's a grey line for a lot of people. The Punisher's literally killing people.
Straight up. Shotgun.
But, yeah, he is judge, jury, executioner. He has decided this person is scum and I'm putting him down. That to me is the vigilante. That's the vigilante that you should be like, yeah, that's the one I'm against. That level of vigilantism is not good. That's not a hero.
No.
But yet this group of the police who are anti-vigilante are using his symbol as their badge. This is their calling. So that's interesting. And it is from a comic book arc. I looked it up, where there's an anti-vigilante task force and they all kind of have this Punisher logo as their emblem.
Very strangely done, isn't it? Very strange.
Yeah. But it's also kind of, in a kind of twisted way, you can imagine that being true. Like in the real world, there are a lot of American police have like the Punisher logo, and a lot of armed forces and stuff use it. And to me, like armed forces, I can kind of get, but the police, if you have a member of the police force who's idolizing the Punisher from comics and TV, I'd be worried.
I don't want to be pulled over him for speeding.
No. I mean, geez, you don't want to get pulled over in America, full stop. But yeah, I just kind of look at that, but that is real. That is kind of like a thing that exists. So I think the comic book run, and I think perhaps this TV show is going to hold a little bit of a mirror to that, which would be quite interesting. But like we said, we see this now. This guy is being smuggled. The guy who does it, the former cop, does it brilliantly. He does a big fake out with the van, whereas he actually puts him in a cab. Really straightforward. They arrive just in the nick of time, and I'm kind of sat there feeling a little bit smug, like, outsmarted the bastards, this is good. The dodgy cops are going down.
Yep.
And he turns on Matt. He says, no, I was home the whole time. Why do you think that happened?
I think he looked around the room. Like, you see him kind of looking at all the cops around the room. And yeah. I think he just looks at them and goes, yeah, I am not ever walking out this place alive. Like,
do you think there's perhaps faces in there he knows?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Because you see at least two people with that Punisher kind of tattoo.
Yeah. One on the neck.
Yeah.
Neck
so
tattoos,
I think he's looked around the room, spotted these people and gone, yeah, I'm dead. I am saying one word and I am dead. So, nope. Yeah. I was at home. Wasn't me. The only thing with the whole thing for me was, he's done this big fake out thing. Yeah? Which was really good. I loved the whole van taxi thing.
Yeah.
But I was like, come on, wear a body cam or have a recording in your pocket or something to get evidence against the bad cop. Like, I'm desperate for this bad cop to get caught out somewhere.
I think you've got, there's a couple of scenes where Matt's, so you're a blind lawyer who can fight, and Matt's kind of like, oh, wow, you got a black eye, I've been told. Which I hope you're okay, which, was subtle.
Yeah.
But I do take this back to Jessica Jones in the Defenders series on Netflix, where she says to him, you're a blind guy who can fight. It's not going to take many people to work out who you are. And I kind of think to myself, okay, if you're a cop and you've just had your ass handed to you by a blind guy, absolutely smashed.
Oh, yeah, that other guy's arm bone came out of his elbow.
Yeah, surely your brain's going, oh, well, he's Daredevil then. Do you know what I mean? Like when they confronted each other in the bathroom and he said the words, oh, so you're a blind lawyer who can fight. I was waiting. I was like, come on, say it. Say, do you think I don't know who you are? Do you know what I mean? It just kind of
Do people all know that? Is it like I may well have just missed this from memory. Is it a well-known fact then that Daredevil's blind to everyone else? Or
no, I don't think it. I don't think it necessarily is. So perhaps that's part of the thing. But of course, at one point with Jessica Jones, he literally wrapped a scarf over his head, and his eyes. So she's like, "Come on, it's obvious who you are." But yeah, you are probably right. you are probably right that people perhaps just assume that, you know, the dark eyes on the mask are, you know, he's probably got imagery or something, you know, like the Batman goggles, Iron Man display going on.
Spider-Man's got his kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, no, you are probably right. That's probably just me overthinking that. But we do have that hostile witness. Matt's case is blown up, so he has to do a different tact. What did you think of Plan B? I felt that was where he was cocking up.
Oh, man. Yeah, Plan B was a difficult one. Like, considering... I love the scene after he does it and he's dragged in by the judge. Like,
the judge,
whoa!
Yeah. Yeah, that felt very... Yeah, that felt personal.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch!
Yeah. You made me sit here and think all of these things, and then you do that, you bastard.
Yeah, the DA's not happy as well. Like, the DA literally says to him, like, I sit on a tree of 150 DAs, and you so much as work a case, or you're going to have a DA up your ass. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, Matt may be a really good lawyer, but he's now got a really good lot of enemies.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's made an enemy that day, which isn't good. Like, the district attorney from New York being your enemy is not going to help him. It also, for me, it felt like he was kind of litigating the case of vigilantes, which meant that a lot of the time it felt like he was talking to himself. Like, a few of the conversations he was having with Hector, and he's like, you know, now, you know, and Hector, by the way, he had every right to be super pissed at him.
Oh, definitely. You've just unmasked the bloke in front of everyone.
And put a target on his family. Like, you've literally just... One of the main reasons you talked about keeping your identity secret, Matthew, is so that way people you love don't get hurt. You've now had your best friend murdered, probably because of you, and yet you had no problem in court. Like, oh yeah, look, his wife sat there, there's his daughter, his family, there they are, and by the way, he's White Tiger.
That's was difficult for me, that was.
Well, it
was difficult in the sense of it felt really hypocritical of Matt to do that.
Massively, but I think this is where he is. I think what they've done kind of cleverly is he is just in total conflict. And we've seen that in the past with him. Like the Daredevil character, Matt Murdock, he is often in conflict with his religion. Catholicism, you know. He has that great line with Fisk when they were sat down, you know, like, my religion teaches me that you can be touched by the grace of God and changed. It also believes in retribution. Yeah. So it's kind of like, just so you know, yeah, okay, you tell me you've changed, I'll believe you, but you step out of line, I'm going to whoop you. And that kind of, it's that line he tries to walk, that balancing act. And we know that after Foggy's death, he put away the suit. He has not been Daredevil. No one's seen Daredevil since. It's been over a year. He has parked that and he is battling with it. That visceral scream after he beat those two guys up, that kind of unleashing of anger, it's in there. And it's kind of like, when you see Fisk and his hands fidget, and I'm kind of like, oh, he wants to murder someone.
Yep.
And again, it was a line from Fisk about, you know, battling your darker natures is difficult. You know, I admire anyone who rises above what they are. And it's just such a clever line that is now hitting even harder because he's struggling with this. He's battling this. And he's gone, in that moment, he went so far the other way to where his kind of mind is. It almost felt like as he did it, he then reins himself back of like, oh shit, I'm so focused on winning this case, I've lost sight of why I'm doing this, if that makes sense. Yeah. It's kind of, he's so driven on, I am Matt Murdock, lawyer. I am not Daredevil, so therefore I am not thinking about that world. But then he says to him afterwards, when Hector's like, you know, you shouldn't have done that without talking to me. He's like, yeah, I realise that. But, you know, I made you a promise I was going to get you out. And you do realise now, though, you can't put that mask back on, like, you're done. And he's a bit like, that's not going to happen, Matthew.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, Frankie foreshadow here. Yeah, a bit like at the beginning. Everything's going to be fine. Oh, for sake, Matt, don't say that.
It was, as soon as he said, like, you can never put the mask on again, I instantly was kind of like facepalm, like, this isn't going to go well for him.
So when the jury said not guilty, I was convinced it was going to be guilty because of what happened in that opening scene.
Yeah, I did as well.
So when they said not guilty, I was sat there with a little bit like, oh, wow, that's actually great, because that's completely subverted my expectations. I had a whole note written down for my podcast about, Frankie foreshadow and kind of when the trope of, when you have this in the opening act, it's going to be bad. So I was kind of, I wrote down in my notes here, which is now hilarious given how it ends. Found not guilty, ! Massive surprise. Really, really great that this show doesn't end on a negative when it comes to this character.
My note is just, Matt's a really good lawyer.
Yeah, really good lawyer. Now, when he's acquitted, Fisk is angry. Fisk is mad. And Fisk, we got people at the Times, we got this, and he wants to speak to the BB report. He's... I have to be very careful now. Fisk, as a politician, has realised that he can communicate better with his target audience via social media than traditional media. Okay, I think I've done that in a way that no one's going to scream at me. Yeah, I'm good. I'm happy with that.
I see no mirrors. It's all good.
Yeah. Just nothing orange. Anyway, so he has done that, and that's quite clever. I like the way they've done that. And then they've overlaid Fisk talking to BB Urich by the scene of Hector becoming the White Tiger. He's putting on the outfit, the mask. He's got this great piece of music playing, and he's got the amulet, and he goes out at night. He's back on the street. Matt promised him he'd be okay. He goes out there, he hears stuff going on, he's ready to react, and then out of the shadows a guy steps out, gun to his head, bang, and the White Tiger is dead.
As soon as you saw him wearing that White Tiger suit, did you have that instant thought of, this is a setup?
Yeah. So what was interesting was my emotional kind of journey between writing the note, by the way, which I'd written a little while ago, because in the episode we have a scene with Matt in his apartment with the woman he's dating, etc. So as I was writing the note, like, that was kind of going on. We had a really nice reference to Foggy and their tradition about the drink.
Yeah, I liked that.
Also, by the way, just a little detail is about how Matt was cooking and he's doing all of this stuff, like he's pouring a drink in the glass and he's holding the glass with his finger to judge where the glass is. He's cooking by lifting the pots and pans and putting his hand to judge how hot stuff is. We know he doesn't need to do any of that. But it's a performance, and it also goes towards the actor who is putting in his performance as someone who's blind. Is really... I love the detail.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's double-layered, isn't it? Brilliant. Like, the actor himself is not blind. He doesn't need to do this. The character himself is blind, but has that ability to kind of see things. Doesn't need to do it. But the fact he plays the part so well in both sides, in front of this woman that he's dating, I'm like, that's great.
Yeah, it is absolutely brilliant. And so I've written that note, like I just said a minute ago. When he's suiting up, I'm thinking to myself, well, this is clearly the end of the episode, and we're going to have a big kind of like... So this is where my mind's going, right? I'm kind of like, okay, Fisk is announcing this, that he's going to do like a anti-vigilante bill. Perhaps we're going to see him get arrested as White Tiger. Like, Fisk is literally announcing vigilantes are now outlawed. So, like, you're going to see this guy in the White Tiger outfit, and all of a sudden police are going to arrive from everywhere. He's going to get arrested. Do you know what I mean? It's like my head sort of going
Matt's
through the
not
options.
getting him out of this one because he's literally been arrested.
Because Matt has outed him as the vigilante. Matt has literally handed the police, look, here he is. he's guilty. So that's where my head was going. I think possibly two reasons for that. One is that would be very Daredevil Netflix seasons 1, 2, and 3. That's kind of where that would go. Also, this is Disney Plus. Even though they kept telling me how violent and how they made this series, I don't think I've quite... Even though the first 2 episodes were that, I don't think I was quite prepared for quite literally a hero having his brains blown out.
Yeah, it was a moment.
You know, like that's the equivalent of, like, you know, Hawkeye stood there and this guy just walking up, putting a gun to his head and pulling the trigger.
Yeah, like, I was convinced it was a setup straight away. I was like, this is a setup from something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in my head, I was expecting it to be like a beatdown, like a proper beatdown from the police. So that's what I was expecting. I was expecting a beatdown from the police and then maybe him being chucked in the back of a van after they've kicked 7 shades out of him.
Yeah.
That was kind of where my mind was going. And then all of a sudden this guy steps out the shadow and I go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and then he walks towards the camera and you kind of see the emblem and you go, oh, okay.
So the first question I have to ask, I think I know the answer and I'm confident you'll feel you know the answer. Was that Frank Castle?
I think so.
You think the Punisher just killed White Tiger?
I do, and I think it's going to be a...
Why?
Huh?
Why?
I don't know, but I just had a feeling. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my God, that was so him. I don't know, I got this gut feeling of like, oh no.
Seriously?
Like, yeah.
Do you know what? I follow a load of blogs, I do watch a lot of stuff, I notice the stuff you avoid. You are the first person I know who thinks that's Castle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no way is that Frank. Frank's got a code. Why would he kill him?
I don't know. As soon as I saw the symbol, I was like, oh my God, it's him.
Oh, yeah, but all the cops are using the symbol. They've corrupted
I
the
know,
symbol.
the symbol itself. I don't know. There was just something about the fact it was like so big on the front of the shirt. I was like, oh, it's Frank.
Oh, man, no way is that Frank.
I hope it wasn't.
Do you know what? I had a whole thing lined up then, just like me and you agreeing. Wow, that's blown my mind. Do you think?
Yeah, no, there was just something in it. I was like, a long time has passed since we last saw Frank, and I'm like,
so you think Frank's gone the ultimate evil vigilante is now gone anti-vigilante and is killing them because Fisk, who he hates, has come out against vigilantes?
Yeah, I don't know. There was just something in it that made me think it was. I don't know what it is. There's no logic behind it, but there was just something there that made me go,
there is a character yet to be introduced, but we know is coming, who is the lead of an anti-vigilante task force. It's a character known from the comics. The name I don't know, and I don't know whether they're going to vary it perhaps. So my assumption is that was our introduction to him, and he is basically pretending or is fake Punisher, if you like.
Ah, okay, yeah.
And I think Matt's gonna have to track down the real one to get to the bottom of it. Like, I think perhaps there's gonna be a witness to this. Like, yeah, I saw the Punisher kill White Tiger, and Matt's gonna be like, no fucking way, gonna try and track down Frank. Because there's a bit in the trailer where he's like, Frank, trying to get like Frank's got him by the throat.
Yes.
Which is very, very Frank Castle. Frank, it's me. Oh yeah. Could you put down the hatchet, Frank? Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll kill you with it. I don't know.
Very
the
Frank
day's
Castle,
young. Yeah. The day's young, Red. You know, we may fall out. So that, no way is that Frank. No way. If that genuinely turns out to be the Punisher, I'm gonna be gutted. I'm gonna be so like, no, I would not like that at all.
I'm hoping it's not. But I did get that.
Damn you for putting that in my mind. Damn you. Okay, so I've got one last thing that I noticed in this episode that could just be reaching.
Okay.
But because I heard it, I wanted to point it out. There's a moment where Matt is in court and he's using his defense and he's talking about the work that the White Tiger has done and how actually a lot of police officers, and you do see some in the court like nodding along, kind of like, actually, yeah, he has helped. Like, this guy does help people, which I thought was actually a really clever thing.
Showing that not all the cops are bad, sort of thing, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. I thought it was a really kind of clever way for the jury. Matt is a very good lawyer. During that, Matt lists, like, okay, as you heard from Detective so-and-so, there's also officer this, officer that, officer this. And one of the ones he lists is Police Officer Morales.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, his dad was a New York police officer.
His dad was a cop. I caught that. That gave me a little smile. I was like, I wonder if... You know when you hear it, probably the same as you did. I heard it and went, I wonder. Was that a nice little link?
I mean, I think it's a nod. I think they've done it a lot. We heard a Spider-Man reference from Fisk.
Yeah.
We've now had a Miles Morales reference from Matt. This is New York street level stuff. I think there's going to be a lot of references. I remember at the end of season 3 of Daredevil where they were talking about Karen not being a lawyer, but she's such a good investigator and she's more stable than Jessica Jones. Like the kind of references like that are what I love, and I fully expect to hear more of them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's me. Is there any other aspects from episode 3 or any parts you think we've missed and should talk more on?
I don't think so.
No, okay.
No.
Looking ahead, one of the big rumours or one of the big things about this show has been, will any of the other Defenders appear in this series? I'm not sure in season 1 anyway. I think it's perhaps season 2 because the direction changed, and like the original concept for season 1 didn't have any links to the Netflix shows. So I kind of feel like that's changed, and perhaps we might get some references, as in back references, dialogue, like, oh, you know, don't you know a good investigator? Yeah, but she's drunk. Do you know what I mean? And we'd all be like, we know who he means. That could happen, but I don't actually think we're going to see a cameo from any of these characters. Do you think there's any scope in this, in the story that you're seeing unfold at the moment, where we might see... I mean, we've already had a Harlem's Paradise reference in episode 2.
Yeah.
Which isn't a Luke Cage reference, but we know that's where he is.
Yes.
So, do you think we're going to get more stuff like that? Or do you think we're going to have something a bit more overt, where actually someone's going to show up? Or do you think that actually, no, probably season 1 is going to be, especially because of the original story and the reshoots and the kind of rescheduling of it, is going to be more just purely focused Matt versus Fisk? And also... We know, because we're seeing it, we know Muse is out there.
Well, yeah.
So, and we obviously all saw the trailer as well. Yeah, but what do you think? Do you think we might... I mean, obviously we know Frank Castle's showing up.
We know he's in it,
So
yeah. We've seen him. Now,
yeah.
I quite like it when things do the subtle hints. Like, we had the Rogers the Musical. We saw the poster for that. We saw, like you say, we saw the Harlem bit for Luke Cage as a little bit.
Yeah.
I would quite like if we got just loads of little tiny reference hidden around. You know, like one of them's looking through a newspaper and there's a private investigator advert. Cool, J. Jones. You know, just something like little small bits, like, you know...
Alias, a new, Alias investigation. Come on.
Kathleen Wing could be opening up her own self-defense karate class. Or, you know, just like little bits and pieces going through it that you're like, oh, wait a minute, that's a character from this, or... You know,
I do keep looking around in background to see if there's any Rand Enterprises or anything
that sort
like
of stuff.
Like
yeah,
Rand. Yeah, I do keep, because there's loads of little things like that they put in, like that drink that Bruce Banner bleeds in the Hulk film they did. That shows up all the time, like this kind of guava juice stuff.
Yep,
which makes me laugh. Like I see that all the time. So there are loads of things like that. So I am, all throughout this series, I'm going to keep an eye on. If you're listening and you have spotted stuff and perhaps I don't mention it, please do point out, because I love that kind of stuff. So do get in touch with us. If you want to get in touch, you can contact us via all the social medias. The only one we're not on is Twitter, because we abandoned that when the owner became who the owner is. But you can find us on Blue Sky. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram. You can find us on TikTok. You can also get in touch via the podcast apps. I know a lot of people who use Pandora get in touch all the time. Thank you so much for that. You can also email us directly to the show, sam@stuffandthangspodcast.com. It's a long email address, but once you typed it once and saved it, you're fine. Just sam@stuffandthangspodcast.com, and you can email in, and we do, we do go through everything. You can also join us for a chat on our Discord channel, which, you know, a lot of people just seem to be adverse to. I'm not entirely sure why, but it is available. You can find us there. The link to that will be in the podcast description. And we've got if you like, chat rooms available for every show we talk about, all the movies we talk about, and you can just dive in there and sort of start a conversation if you've got any thoughts or theories. I think that's everything.
Yeah, all three of us are on there. Me, you, and Kaylee are all on the Discord.
Yes, for everyone who remembers Kaylee.
Yeah. Oh, it's Kaylee's birthday today as well. So if anyone wants to drop on and say happy birthday, feel free to join the Discord and say happy birthday.
Is it her birthday? Wow, she must be getting on now. I mean, it's got to be 50, I think.
52, I think it said.
52, that makes sense. Yeah, she doesn't look a day under 51, so it's okay. But yeah, okay then, mate. I'll let you sign off this week because we seem to be having a struggle with sign-offs at the minute. So I'm going to let you do it.
Oh, no, I actually had one lined up for this week.
Well, go on then.
I say, just remember, it's the right thing to do.
What's that from?
That's what the guy keeps saying it all the way through the trial. Why did you do it? It's the right thing to do.
I know, I'm just fucking with you. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope you all had a lovely week. We'll be back next week, and I'm going to leave you all with this.
Man wears a mask to cover his face is a coward. These vigilantes, they are not heroes. I ran on a promise, and the acquittal of Hector Ayala demands that I keep it. The rule of law must prevail.
Thank you for listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on Facebook or online. Simply search the Stuff and Things podcast to join in our conversation every week.